So much stuff happened last week. If you were blinking, you were missing something important going on in the world of college football. We found out that Arch Manning is just like genuinely terrible at the sport of football that his family's played for years and years and years. We found out that Catholics versus convicts can still live up to the billing all these years later. We found out that LSU can win a season opener without it still being in the time of the dinosaurs. And then with Florida State and Alabama, yeah, I can't tell if Florida State's really good or if Alabama's really bad. The biggest game of the week was undoubtedly Ohio State versus Texas. We all knew that going in, but boy, did those teams not do their absolute best to imitate the LSU-Alabama game from 2011. Offense was optional in this game, with both teams scoring a combined 21 points total. Texas, led by Steve Sarkisian, one of the greatest offensive play callers of this generation, was held scoreless through 3 quarters, and Ohio State apparently left their offense in the championship game this past year. So there was just no scoring to be had, but plenty of violent, flying, vicious defense for all 4 quarters. But the home team came out on top, and Ohio State is now they are just going off for the rest of the season. That is a great way to start the season, getting a big win over the number 1 team in the country. I mean, what more can you do if you're Ohio State? Maybe run the ball, but still, great win for the Buckeyes. Texas, that defense will carry them for a little while, but they need to do something on offense. Something, because they did nothing except run the ball here and there, kind of. But once Ohio State figured out that was all they could do, they didn't really do much of anything. So Texas really got to work out on that offense. That thing is ugly. I'm talking like newborn baby levels of ugly. We all know that we want to treat newborn babies like they're really, really beautiful things, and they are. But if we're talking about does it look pretty? I don't know. Maybe that's Texas's offense. Maybe it's something that is really just inherently beautiful. It just looks really bad right now. It might take some time to look a little better. That's where that team's at right now. How about Florida State shoving Alabama in a locker for all 4 quarters? This was no upset where the home team, kind of got up to a really fluky, quick start and then just kind of really, white-knuckled it from there on and just barely got the win. No. Florida State was the better team. They were very clearly the better team. Florida State looked like what Alabama used to look like in these games. Alabama, I don't know what they looked like. Lower level Pac-12 teams from years past. MAC teams. I don't know. They don't look like Alabama, I know that much. So Caitlin DeBoer is already on the hot seat. 1 game into the season. A lot of issues from last year are not rectified. And that schedule looks like a doozy now. No one really thought it was going to be, a terrible schedule because we all assumed Alabama was going to be improved from last year. Well, they're not. And that schedule, good luck making the Birmingham Bowl with that schedule and with that team. Florida State, everything looks like it's in front of them. If they can replicate that performance, not just do it for 1 week at a time, but every single week, which I guess is 1 week at a time. Dang it. But anyway, if they can be consistent with that, shoot, they can make the playoff. They can certainly win the ACC with an effort like that, but I think that team has its eyes set on some much bigger goals. It will be very interesting to watch Florida State for the rest of the season. We interrupt this episode of 4th and Goal for some breaking news. That's right, we have breaking news. Good gracious. We have breaking news. That wasn't the breaking news. The breaking news is the real Death Valley is in Baton Rouge. That's right, LSU did it. They got the home opener monkey off their back, and they are 1-0 to start the season for the first time since 2019. Wasn't much to say for the offense, but that defense, Clemson got 30-something rushing yards? That's impressive. Even if Clemson isn't what they used to be, that's still an impressive effort. And that offense, although it wasn't great, it wasn't Texas levels of bad. Certainly something to build upon. I wasn't sure about LSU heading into the season. That team can compete for an SEC title game. Don't know about a national championship just yet. They got to work on the offense a little more. But that team, they can do some big things that they haven't They haven't done in a long time. Clemson, yeah, they're done. I mean, haven't won a big game or a big game against top level competition. They've won big games against ACC competition. They haven't beaten an SEC team in, it feels like, half a decade. It probably isn't, but it certainly feels like that. At least they haven't beaten a ranked big name SEC team in that long. I don't know what to say. Maybe they'll win the ACC. Maybe they'll get back into the playoffs. But they're just probably going to get, they're probably just going to exit the first or second round. I mean, if they're okay with that, I don't think they are, but that's what they're doing. They are what they have been. And it looks like there just is no changing that right now. Then to close out the weekend, we got Miami looking relevant for the first time since they beat Florida last year. Do they have a defense? Is Notre Dame's offense bad? I don't know. I mean, they still have Jeremiah Love, so that running game should still be up to snuff. But, man, they didn't get a whole lot done with it. Miami's defense has come so far from last year. And Carson Beck, looking like 2023 Carson Beck. We'll have to see. I mean, it's week one. You never know. Maybe Notre Dame's defense has just gone soft over the course of a whole spring and summer. I don't think so. I think that's a decent Notre Dame team that just lost to Miami. I think Miami, again, same thing with Florida State. They have a lot in front of them now. They are off to a great start. They can win the ACC. They can make it to the playoff. Maybe win a game or two in the playoff. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see if Miami can finally live up to that, that big U that people are always talking about. Can they keep it up for the rest of the season? Same thing with Florida State. Those two teams from Florida, really similar trajectories right now. Notre Dame, that was not a game you want to lose if you're not in a conference. I mean, that schedule is kind of sneaky tough. There are some sneaky games. I think they play A&M, in 2 weeks or something like that? And then they go to Arkansas and USC, which may or may not be good. I don't know. I think they got to win out from here to make the playoff. If they want to go back, I think Notre Dame needs to win out from here. Can they do it? Remains to be seen. So, game number 1. For this Saturday, Iowa is going to Iowa State in the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Whew, we got Big Ten going up against Big 12. And people think all we do is talk about SEC football. No, we do not. We love the whole sport. And Iowa State is one of the best stories in the sport right now. They had a big game against the Big 12 favorite in Ireland, and it wasn't easy beating Kansas State, but they got out of there. They escaped, and then they handled business against an inferior opponent. Don't overlook that. That's really important. Just because you're favored to win by a bunch doesn't mean that you will. You can never take that for granted. Ask Alabama. But anyway, Iowa State playing some really good football right now, and they have this game in their own building. Iowa looked pretty good last week. They ran for 300 yards again because that's how their offense usually functions, but they've got a transfer quarterback. Might they attempt the forward pass in this game? I'm not sure. That's why we need to watch the game on Saturday. I mean, I think it's going to be close. I think this game is just always close. I can't remember a time Iowa versus Iowa State was not a close game. And that's what the model thinks. Mere fractions of a point separating this matchup. I'm going to go with the model. I think Iowa State is riding a really hot streak right now. I'm going to take that team. They're both undefeated, sure, but what Iowa State is doing is just smidge more impressive. I think they're the more consistent football team. I think they have more ways to win with a passing game, with a decent running game. It's good, not great. That defense is vastly improved from last year. And, I mean, I can always rely on Iowa to score 17 points max. I don't think they can score more than that against a Power 4 opponent. I think Iowa State will. I think that's what's going to give them the win. For the biggest game of the week, Michigan is going to Oklahoma in a matchup of two teams whose defenses barely carried them to a bowl this year. You've got Bryce Underwood, true freshman, top recruit in the country that Michigan flipped away from LSU. He's going to make his first big game start at Oklahoma. That environment is going to be raucous. Those Oklahoma fans want to see points. They want to see a lot of points, because they didn't necessarily see a lot of that last year. Their defense did probably more scoring than the offense. I know they did against Alabama, but they really are going to want to see a more improved Oklahoma team, and so they're going to do everything they can to throw off Bryce Underwood, to throw off that passing attack. Might Michigan be able to run the ball still? If they can run the ball like they did against New Mexico State, Justice Haynes, by the way, transfer from Alabama, ran for almost 10 yards a carry. It was against a cupcake, but can he do something that's like maybe half that good against Oklahoma? Because if they can run the ball consistently, like Michigan football has been known to do in the past, they won't really need to rely on the passing game. That's how they won that national championship. Well, I mean, legally stealing signs was part of that. But they have been known as a power football team. They run the ball, they throw when they need to, or to throw the other team off script. Oklahoma, on the other hand, looks like the complete opposite situation. They look like they need to throw the ball. They were also playing a cupcake, and they just couldn't run. They just couldn't run against a cupcake. That's pretty bad when you're going up against Michigan, who, granted, their defense didn't look spectacular against New Mexico State, but who knows what that really means when it's time to actually play some real football, at least by Michigan standards, real football. John Mateer, is he going to be able to step up to the moment? This is going to be a preview for the rest of the season for him now, because his level of competition is going to go up dramatically from what he faced at Washington State. Is he up to the challenge? I don't know. That's going to be a good defense on Michigan's sideline. The wide receivers in Oklahoma, a little bit unproven. Anything is better than having your 5 starting wide receivers down, though. So I think both teams have offensively upgraded from last year. I think both teams defensively should be about the same as they were last year. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game because I think Michigan has kind of the propensity to move the ball a little bit more consistently, just not as explosively. It's going to be really slow. Their points going to be really slow. Oklahoma, I think it's going to be sporadic. Like, they're going to go 3 and out 3 times in a row. Boom, 40-yard touchdown. They punt or they fumble it here. Boom, another long touchdown. I think that's going to be the scoring for both of these teams. And if I'm wrong, I think that probably means one of these two teams is pulling away from the other. Actually, talking about the scoring, why don't we ask Stats and Info about what the model is doing? He's claiming it's because the model is self-aware. We all know he just did his job and upgraded the model. So Stats and Info, take it away with the model 3.0 and why it functions the way it functions.
Sir, I need to reiterate that the model is indeed alive. Actually, I don't understand how something can be more alive than this thing. It's growing all these wires everywhere, and it keeps doing this thing. I'm very worried. If you can send help, I'd appreciate it. Let me try to get it to shut down. Okay. Phew. Glad that's over. Alright, so now that I got this stats pulled up, I want us to take a close look at what the model is showing us. And yeah, I would love to take credit for establishing this new method of predicting games, but, I'm afraid that wasn't me. I was just a model cooking up something on its own. So we got this new system here. You got run points and pass points. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but from best I can tell, run points are how many points a team is projected to gain due to the run. Like, a team will score an average number of points throughout the season, and run points, at least from what I can tell, is how many of those points are attributable to their rushing output. So, like, the total yardage that is made by the team on offense that goes towards their points, what's the percentage of that yardage that goes to points that was rushing yardage? If you can understand what that is anyway. Pass points, same concept, just throwing the ball. How much of a team's passing offense contributes to their scoring output? So, as you see here, it's a little more balanced on the Michigan side. There's about almost a 4-point difference, but Oklahoma, like, oh my gosh, their run game contributes very little to their scoring output. But then you got this final score here, and it's very lopsided, and you're like, well, Stats and Info, why is this score so lopsided? I mean, if Michigan's a more balanced offense, that probably gives them a better shot to win, right? Well, not necessarily. That's where this second section comes in. Game run points and game pass points. And from the as best I can tell, what the model has done is it has taken the defense of each team, and what it has done is it's found the number a number attributed to the defense. How much of this scoring output for the run game and the pass game is going to be nullified by the defense? So, for example, you got Oklahoma. Normally, through one game this year, 7.3 points are attributable to their run game. Michigan's defense through the game run points knocks that down to 2 points. But that's not significant to Oklahoma's final score. What's really significant is what Oklahoma's defense is projected to do to Michigan's offense. So for your Michigan, balanced offense, you got the 15 points through the run game, almost 19 points through the pass game. It's projected to take about 5 points off the run game, which is significant in and of itself. But the passing points is really interesting. We're talking about a 16-point drop. So Oklahoma's secondary, this is what the model is telling us, is Oklahoma's secondary is going to put the clamps on the Michigan passing attack. Now, that could be to the depth in the secondary, the fact that it's a good overall defense, and then you got Michigan, true freshman, making his first big start on the road. It's usually not a recipe for the success in the passing game. So that's why you got this lopsided score. That's why the model is saying we think Oklahoma is going to blow Michigan out here.
So that's all the football that I've got to talk today. I hate to end the show on a bleak term, but I've got to do it. Oh, Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is the greatest soda in the world. As fans of this show should know by now, you should know it. It tastes different than everything else. Literally everything else. Nothing tastes close. You have all these cheap knockoffs at like Kmart and Walmart and stuff. This is not as good. They end up tasting more like Pepsi, and Pepsi is even worse than Coke. So no one wants it. But I've been asking for Dr. Pepper to sponsor me since 2021, and I have gotten no feedback, no response. I've said this a couple of times. Dr. Pepper, yes, this Dr. Pepper, you don't sponsor me, I'm going to go after someone who will. You're not the only company that's associated with college football. There are other brands just as big as you that I'm sure would love to support this show, would love to have me wear all of their stuff and to promote their product. This is your last chance. It's going to get ugly if you do not sponsor us. So just sponsor us. We don't have to do any of this bad stuff. Just give us some money to run the show. It's all we need. We don't ask for a lot. Like $1. I'd take it. As long as I can say, Fourth and Goal with Buzz Busby is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. And if we're not, man, I'd hate to be you when we get that new sponsor. I really would. That is all I've got for this week. Not just the football, but also the sponsorship issues. Everything that I've got. Hope you enjoy your Saturday. Hope the games are fantastic. And I'll see you guys again next week.